Wow, wrong one. Oh yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome. It is Tuesday night. It is a Spork of Ice and Fire, and we are here to talk Daenerys. I was going to say Danielle. Daenerys Targaryen, Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, and the Ronar, and the Andals and the first. Do they say Andals and the First Men?
Yeah, you're supposed to call her Stormborn, unburnt.
Oh, that's right.
You know?
That's
right. I don't know if you know this. She was born during a storm.
That is true. A very bad storm. Very bad. But, you know, I wonder sometimes. Let's talk about this. Yeah. So, welcome to a Spork of Ice and Fire. We are going to do a deep dive into the mysteries, the theories, and the conspiracies hidden in George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire. I wrote that myself. Tonight's question: did Daenerys Targaryen truly survive Khal Drogo's funeral pyre, or did she die that night and come back as something entirely different? This is the Fire Wight theory, the idea that Dany has been undead since book 1, animated not by ice like the others, but by fire. We'll explore the pyre scene in a Game of Thrones, the definition and examples of fire wights, comparisons with Beric Dondarrion, Lady Stoneheart, and maybe even Jon Snow, the counter arguments, and the symbolism and potential implications if it does turn out to be Dany's a fire wight. So let's start off with my beautiful group of panelists here. We have the lovely Bad Takes Bojan. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's been a long week, even though it's only Tuesday, but happy to be here to be chatting about some good stuff.
Good stuff. I like how you said that. Good stuff. All right. And we also have Miggity Mac, Mr. Grant Gregory.
Hello.
Did a group by the name of Chris Cross ever end up down there? Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, they made me jump.
Okay, so, just making sure.
Yeah. It's an interesting theory when it comes to it on the basis. It really depends on what context you're looking at it, whether you separate book from show or you think that it's the same in both. Because there's more of an argument in one than the other, I think.
Okay, and which one are you leaning towards? That has more of an argument.
I think in the show, she's not a fire wight, but I think more so in the book that she could be.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they yeah, I would go with that too. Like the book gives you more examples of, wait a minute, did she die? You know, type thing. And we're gonna talk about it. We have
they also used magic, in which they tried to avoid heavily in the show.
George avoids magic in particular, but in his own books. But man, yeah, you're right. In the show, they did not want to touch that. But you know what I wanted to wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't say it like that. Well, who I want to shout out, we got Kirsty Angel in the house, we got Brian McCann, my conspiracy brother. We got Zax, the lovely Zax, who's in our intro, sometimes in our intro video. We love him, we miss him. If he ever wants to
It's
jump
the only
on,
high tower I respect.
the only high tower I respect. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But yeah, we're going to be talking about this. But before we do that, Mr. Grant Gregory, you brought up something backstage about the show House of the Dragon and an example of where they effed up, which was pretty something I didn't even put together because I thought the show was a bit of a mess. But what
Yeah,
did
I've been doing a bit of a rewatch, and I got to I think it's episode 5 or 6 of season 2,
Mhm.
where Sir Stefan Darklin, the one of her Queen's Guard,
Mhm.
is selected to potentially ride the dragon.
Oh yeah, he is. Oh,
And the justification was his grandmother's grandmother was
right,
a princess. Was a Targaryen princess,
right. And what
and
did
I'm
you
just like,
figure out?
well, that would put it around the same time as Aegon,
Yeah.
like the Conqueror.
Even if we're
Which
being
does,
generous with the time, what a
yeah, assuming
generation
that
is.
that they all had their kids at a young age.
Mhm.
But not only that, the back then, I mean, even up until only recently, the Targaryens were very pure about their blood. No woman would marry or have children outside of the Targaryen bloodline.
Mhm.
Uh, Yet we're to believe that somewhere along the line they chose the Darkling house out of all the houses that it could have been. It was it,
Yeah.
it was a really weird it was just it was weird because I'm looking at it going, okay, it's a princess that he's named that we've never heard of.
Mhm.
And the only way it could be would be one of Aegon the Conqueror's daughters,
Right.
which we know
No,
that
he
didn't
didn't
happen.
have. Yeah. And then I was like, well, no, man, it's only like 45 years. And you made me realize that because I've watched that scene probably twice that they said grandmother's
Grandmother's
grandmother.
grandmother.
And even if we do like 15 years, that's 90. So
Yeah,
yeah, we're at the time of Aegon's conquest because we're
Aegon's still
still
king at the
king.
stage.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
Um
It's not like also he had a concubine that was legitimized, the child was legitimized, like none of that. So that
no,
was a
that's what
good
I'm
one.
saying. Because here's the thing.
Gilkman!
Y-
Sorry. I'm sorry. I haven't seen Gilkman in a while.
Gilgy,
Good
what's
to
going on,
see
buddy?
you. He returns.
Here's the thing. If that was true and she was around there like that, she would be a legitimate threat to the throne.
Right.
And I don't know if you know this about Maegor. He didn't really like that.
He
He takes
wasn't
that
into
personally.
he wasn't into threats. Yeah, yeah. He was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
threat.
you know.
He was the threat. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they arbitrarily threw this thing out as I'm just like, did she read fan fiction or something?
Mhm.
Like it doesn't make any sense that that's what happened.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
you're right.
it was just something I didn't pick
It's a
up
cool
on it
point.
until then because we're so used to, the timeline being 300-400 years and everything like that.
Mhm.
When you go your grandmother's grandmother,
Right. Yeah, that's a long
and
time ago.
he's in his 40s at least.
Mhm.
Or he
Yeah,
looks he
in
could
the
even be in his
show. Yeah.
50s. Yeah. Well, I mean
That's
that's
ridiculous.
because that's not mentioned like that in the books.
Right. Right. It was
Um,
completely different.
yeah.
Like
Did they specify that your grandmother's grandmother was a Targaryen or just
Targaryen
from
Targaryen
princess.
Valyria?
princess.
Yeah.
Targaryen prince. Okay.
Yeah, I asked the
From
same
Valyria, then
thing.
they wouldn't be princesses. Because they were a low level house there. They weren't royalty there. And also, even when they were on Dragonstone, because even if it was before the conquest, it's they would be on Dragonstone, but they weren't royalty. They weren't like kings and queens and princesses, and
Mhm.
they weren't even lords or anything.
Right. Yeah, interesting, man. We'll have to maybe look into all the mistakes they made. We could do a whole show on it. That'd be fun. Be a
Also,
couple
I
hours.
have a question for you in regards to that. If when Danny the Dreamer dreamed about the doom of Valeria 100 years before it happened,
Mhm.
and then they moved to Dragonstone,
Not 100 years.
what happened to all the other Targaryens during the conquest, Aegon's conquest?
That's what
Because it
I
stated that there
wondered.
were only 3 left.
Yeah, that's what I wondered too. Was there's something that happened? Okay, so Danny the Dreamer, they moved about 10 years later, the doom happens, and there's then 100 years before the conquest. Was there like this mass? I think his parents were still alive, maybe, and they stayed on. They never really touch on that either. Was there a massive civil war on Dragonstone for, I don't know, leadership? Who's going to take? Because you're right. They brought the
So
family
there was a
over.
Dance of the Dragons before the Dance of the Dragons.
Right. It was a Dance of Dragonstone. But maybe we'll talk about it too. Here we go. Here's my long theory. Bran died when he fell. Dany died in the fire. Davos drowned in the black water. Catelyn died in the red wedding. Patchface drowned. Bran was hanged. And yeah. And they all come back that we know of. There's probably a couple more. We were talking about that last week too. The Hound, maybe. The Mountain. You know, there's all these characters that died, but yet somehow come back in a weird way. But tonight,
we're assuming the Hound is the Gravedigger.
right? I think, but we will discuss that stuff maybe at the end of this. I want to get right to the Dany is a fire white, so we're gonna go straight to the scene in question. Drogo's funeral pyre. So Drogo's body's on the pyre. Mary Mazdul is bound to that pyre. 3 dragon eggs among the logs. Dany turns to Jorah after he was like, please don't go in there. And she says, no, you must not fear. The fire is mine. I am Daenerys Stormborn, daughter of dragons, bride of dragons, mother of dragons. A Game of Thrones, Dany 10. And then she walks into the flames as dawn winds start to stir. So the flames reach her, and somehow she could feel them licking at her skin, and yet they did not burn her. Her clothes were gone, turned to ash, yet her skin was unhurt. Her hair had burned away, but she was alive. Miri's earlier warning, only death can pay for life. So only death can pay for life. Now, her son's death, who was also, I believe, in the pyre, her son's death was supposed to pay for her husband's life, which was, you know, not a real life. He was a vegetable. Dany killed him.
He was a big baby. He couldn't really do anything. She had to clean him, feed
Right.
him, birth him, basically. So it was a fair trade.
It was, you're right. But so even if we take Dany killing him and putting him on the fire, him being one life, Mary Mazdul being the second life. So there's 4 living things that come out of that fire, 3 dragons and a Dany. So where is the rest of that? Only, death pays for blood pays for life. Only death pays for life. Where are the other 2? Well, it could be Dany died to spring the 3rd egg, and she was brought back by R'hllor. Because don't forget, they do say, and I just noticed this myself, that the flames reached her and somehow she could feel them licking at her skin, and yet they did not burn. Her clothes were gone, turned to ash, yet her skin was unhurt. Her hair had been burned away, but she's alive. Sorry, I missed the part that I wanted to read. Oh, when she walks into the flames as dawn's wind stirs. So could R'hllor could the wind stirring be R'hllor's own kiss of life? Somewhat like Thoros did for Beric. There's a lot of ways you could look at this. But it's not one of those theories that, like Azor Ahai, you could pretty much make almost everyone, including a cat, Azor Ahai in the story. This one's different. There's only a couple examples of how this happens, and she lines up with a few of them.
And also, it's one of those Fire White's never mentioned in the series.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
George thing. I'm going to bring that up in a minute. Actually,
yeah.
That's our next talking point. I'm glad you said that. But Tina, do you have anything about like the funeral pyre that you noticed?
I don't think anything that you guys haven't already mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much there, right? But she walks
Well,
in
I
with
think the show one that is different because she walks out. She's got her hair.
Mhm. Right. The show is
And
ridiculous. This is
also,
all
I
about
don't
the
think she.
books.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I don't think she's a real Targaryen. Because I assume that
Mm,
they had like silver hair like everywhere.
yeah, silver bush. Or eyebrows,
Her
whatever you're
brows
looking.
were pretty unbleached there
Yeah.
too, so that was
Well, and also she had what, blue eyes? But yeah, the
yeah.
show, this is all going to the books. What were you gonna say, Tina?
So are we saying that if we were to assume that her baby's death was supposed to pay for, Drogo staying
Drogos. Yep.
alive.
Yep.
So are we saying that Danny, Mary Mesure, and Drogo's deaths
Yeah.
paid for the birth of the three dragons?
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
I
under
don't
the assumption that we believe what Mary Masdul said.
true.
She could have just literally just gone, well, I can save him, but it's gonna do this. And she's like, I'm just gonna poison your baby.
Well, and let's not forget,
Yeah.
and I hope I'm not screwing this up. I don't know if this is show or book. The leeches, right? I believe that's in the book too. No, it's not. Is it? Yeah, the King's Blood. No, that was Gendry, but I thought he did it to Edric Storm. Someone tell me out there before I make a fool of myself. Is that just the show, the leeches? Because like I know in the book Melisandre is trying to prove
No,
her
that you mean
power.
with Stannis?
Yeah, where
Yeah,
he
no, that's in the book because he has three of them because he goes, this one's
yeah, Jon
Joffrey,
Snow, usurper,
Rob and who else was it?
Greyjoy, Greyjoy.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he already killed off his brother, I believe, at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely in the books. Okay,
I'm sure that's in the books.
all right. Just checking. 3 deaths. All right. Someone in the chat will let us know if we're wrong. They're good about that. So, what is a fire wight? All right. So the term is not in the books, but Gurm confirmed Beric is a wight animated by fire instead of by ice. Heart does not beat, blood does not flow. Their core traits are they're reanimated by fire, by R'hllor, their god, who we'll talk about later, and retains personality but is undead. So the examples for that is Beric in A Song of Ice and Fire, or no, I'm sorry, a Storm of Swords. Storms, yeah. Arya 8 and Lady Stoneheart, Storm of Sword epilogue, right? And possibly John at the end of A Dance with Dragons. And before we move on, yep.
According to Google AI, the leeches are canon to Song of Ice and Fire. Not only did Melisandre use them filled with Edric Storm's blood, as you just said,
Yep.
to target the False Kings,
Mhm.
they also were used by maesters, healers, and Roose Bolton in different parts of the
Roose
series.
Bolton used leeches to,
Well,
like,
he's a
Right, for
vampire.
medicinal
vamp-
reasons, but
right.
they're just saying that they,
And let's not forget, Maester Aemon told Jon Snow there is power in a king's blood. Like he warned him of that.
Do you think that's the reason why the Maesters always insisted on leeching like Viserys to get the power out of his blood?
Well, to say it, I would think they would want to. They probably have vats of different king's bloods in there. Like, don't forget, Maegor was bleeding out on the throne. They could have been, getting bowls of that up. There's a couple different things with that. But real quick, everybody, one of our biggest supporters and a channel member for 23 months, Brian McCann. I asked Gurm years ago. He said, "See more." All right, Brian, where are you, buddy? When you have a chance, we will see more. Keep an eye out for Brian. And Gilkman, if you have a link,
That's a joke.
oh, is it the joke? Oh man, I totally missed that. What an idiot. The Gilkman returns. You are a wrench, I believe. So you could throw your link up there for your 5K that you're trying to raise money, and we will share it with everybody else. Thanks, buddy. Kirsty Angel says Rhaegar called out Lyanna's name as he died. He could have gone into her. Yeah, he did. Into her womb, and Jon could be Rhaegar reborn. Same might apply to Dany or as a faceless who was dying and skin changed into baby Dany. Yeah, there are people that don't think she's a Targaryen. I like that idea that just like Robb calling out Grey Wind, Jon calling out Ghost, Rhaegar calling out the name of somebody, maybe, he did have Targaryen blood, maybe had that ability to telepathically connect with another Targaryen or a dragon. I don't know if that could happen, but it would have been awesome if he was actually Jon Snow.
That would be really cool. And it basically, it depends on when does a soul inhabit a child? Is it at conception? Is it at birth?
Or did he kill the baby's soul and put his own in there?
There you go.
Terrible father then.
Fucking fathers. Them fathers,
also, I like the idea of saying like that you just said that maybe even Dany's not actually a Targaryen. I think that would be the ultimate like crazy twist that Fagon is actually the real Targaryen and Dany wasn't.
I do think that would be cool, but I still think he is Aegon Targaryen, and that Dany's going to kill her nephew, even if she knows he isn't a fake. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think he's going to take King's Landing first, and then she's going to come in afterwards.
Yeah, and he did it all because he wanted to show her he didn't. They could stand on equal footing, and it's all actually Tyrion's fault. And you never know, but like she's going to see him as the paper dragon, which I don't know if he is. I think she's the paper dragon.
Wouldn't it be funny if she was actually a Blackfire?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a chance, her mother was always assaulted by her dad. And it was only like after he killed somebody in those later years, because she was born much later than Rhaegar. She was quite almost 20 years younger than him, maybe even about 20 years. I think Rhaegar was somewhere around that age when he died. So you think, he was out batshit crazy, burning people. Maybe she found comfort in another person's arms, like Tywin Lannister. And one of the people she hates the most is actually her dad. That would be awesome. Fan theory or fan freaking drama there.
Rhaegar Targaryen was 23 years old when he died.
Okay. So, and she was just born, pretty much. She was born the night of the storm in Storm's End. So yeah, 23 years younger. So I don't think the Mad King was getting really frisky. Even though Jaime does remember having to listen to the Mad King assault his own wife, and leaving bite marks and scratch marks and all this stuff on that poor woman. Jon Snow's blood is more Blackwood than Stark or Targaryen.
Could be worse. He could be Bracken.
Yeah, because they do come from Rhaenyra's line, right?
Yeah.
And
because that's the same thing with Rhaenyra's blood. She's more Blackwood than
right. Rhaenys' grandmother or mother was a Blackwood, right?
Yeah.
And Rhaenys, but what's his name isn't her brother, is he? Wait a minute. I'm not. Is Viserys the first her brother or cousin?
I thought it was cousin.
Yeah, I thought it was cousin too, but things get screwed up from show to book, and I always that like history kind of sometimes jumps around. Yeah, give us the breakdown.
She was cousins with Baelor.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
but they would share the same grandmother though. By
right,
that logic,
Yes,
right.
they were definitely
which no,
cousins.
that still wouldn't make any sense.
No, it wouldn't.
Rhaenys' father was Aemon, and Viserys' father was Balon.
Yeah. So how would he have Blackwood? Because the
Yeah.
mother was, yeah.
Yeah, because Rhaenys' mother was Baratheon.
Oh, Aegon the Fifth's queen. I forgot Betha Blackwood, and that was their grandmother. Okay, I was going so far back, and you're just like
Yeah, I was going
her
too
grandmother.
far
Yeah,
back then.
yeah. No, they're a quarter. They're a quarter Blackwood because that's their Aegon is their grandfather.
So you're saying they're quarter black wood?
They're quarter Blackwood. Okay. All right. We will move on to Ice Whites versus Fire Whites. So the source of which one? So Fire Whites are supposedly from R'hllor. R'hllor is which we'll talk about in a little bit. R'hllor is the god of fire, shadow, and a couple other things. Ice
We assume
White,
anyway.
right, we assume. And when I'm going to say fire white or just white, a white is an ice white. They come from the great other or from the old gods. The type of mind they have. Well, fire whites hold on, depending on how long they were resurrected after their death. So Beric was resurrected like that, and he did lose fragments every time he died and came back, but he still had his personality, memories. But someone like Caitlin or Lady Stoneheart, Catelyn Stark, she was dead for 3 or 4 days, and when she came back, she was a completely new being. Just rage. You know, her last moment was all she cared about. So when we go minds, I would say fire
It
whites
could
are
also
more.
be all she remembered as
Well,
well,
that's what I
because
mean.
they make a point with Beric and everything that his memory has changed so much that he's not the person that he was. Like he can't even remember his first death.
Uh-huh.
That's something that you think you wouldn't forget.
Right. No, that's true. Yeah, you don't think you would forget. Hi, Mrs. Spork. The
Hello, Madam Spork.
Madam Spolk. Maybe like another hour. Okay. So anybody who wants to donate to the Gilkman, I'll have to wait till Friday, Gilkman. But this is his run, signup.com. His race, I'm guessing it's in or around Boston. So yeah, please guys, make sure you help this brother out.
I
I
thought his
also
race was
am
white. There you go.
and Eric O'Sullivan, Sully, and Memes of Destruction are going to run it too. With you when you turn 50, I didn't realize you were as the same age as me, man. Well, I'll be 50 in January, so you're so old compared to me. No, just kidding. Thank you for sharing that, and we'll get into the chat in a minute. But yeah, so their minds, I would say fire whites are partial to more than partial retention, depending on the length of death and all that stuff and how many times. Ice whites or whites, nothing. They are no longer, at least from what we've seen, they are zombies. Now,
Yeah,
that's not to
I
say that
think
maybe their
heat,
brain's working in there.
I think heat plays a big factor into
Well,
that side of things, that like body functions, retention, and everything. Because the whites seem to be almost hive mindish.
yeah, which
They
George loves
all want to
writing
do
about.
the exact same. They all want to do the exact same thing, but like
Well, it's like one voice tells them what to do and they do it.
yeah, like
Yeah.
with Beric and everything. When
Yep.
he's resurrected, he's always near fire when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So also it's done early when his body is still warm.
Yeah.
That's why like in the show,
Yeah.
I know we're not talking realistically separating, but like if we assume that Jon Snow is essentially the same sort of thing,
Right.
he was left outside in the cold. He was dead. He was dead for a while. They had to warm his body up. It took a
Mhm.
while for him to get to the right temperature before he could come back.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
that is a
maybe
good point.
maybe heat is involved in retention.
What's weird is so fire whites, um, whites decay faster, way faster than a fire white, which you think would be reversed. You know,
Yeah, because of the cold
like
preserving.
right, but they actually decay way faster. Now, does the heat, because both of their hearts don't beat, that heat is somehow, it's magically circulating body functions? Maybe not. I don't know. He said so. There is a point where George
Do we ever
says,
see? Do we ever have any things where Beric is eating or drinking?
no, no. And I think do we see Danny really eat or drink? Drink, but
Uh,
eat? I don't remember.
There was that Starbucks coffee.
Yeah, there was that Starbucks.
that's true.
And then maybe when they got to Karth.
Okay. No, we have to assume that she does eat because they tried to poison the locusts and everything that she was going to eat.
Yeah, but of course she didn't eat them because she's a fire white. Well, we'll think about that. I didn't think about that at all. I'll put that in. I'll take a look at that. If someone wants to look up your AI stuff and ask them, is there after Danny's funeral pyre moment, did she eat? Do we have any examples of her eating? I know drinking we do, but I don't know about eating. But yeah, so Danny's case, she doesn't decay. She's not decaying. She has no memory loss that we know, and she seems full of vitality. But one of the things we've talked about is that the last thing that they were working on, thinking about, something very strongly emotionally that drives them when they become fire whites. Beric, Ned Stark told them to root out, the mountain and his men and protect the Riverlands. And that's exactly what he does. And he gets murdered like 9 times doing it. Lady Stoneheart swore revenge and murder on people for the Red Wedding. And when she died, she came back, and all she has been doing so far is killing people that were at the Red Wedding. It may not even taken place part of what happened, but she's killing them. But her path seems kind of interesting. That's for another.
According to AI, she did eat poisonous berries while in the Dothraki Sea, which caused dirty water.
Just dirty
meaning
water.
Diarrhea.
Yeah.
As in diarrhea.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's it.
So she still has bodily functions,
which is a kind of a big difference.
Okay, we know she has a bodily system because towards the end she seemingly gets a period again.
Right. Yeah.
True.
But then I wonder, is that something magical, bringing her back? Like maybe this is the one massive benefit, magical thing that the Targaryens truly have. That if they die and come back through R'hllor, because they are the dragon, they actually can become human again, or whatever a Targaryen Valerian is.
Well, that would be interesting if R'hllor was actually a big part of their original religious practices, but was lost
we don't
with
get
the
much.
Conquest.
Right.
Because
we
I
don't
guess
get much of
that
what
makes
their
sense.
religion was, though, man. We never get told. We just get told they settle with, okay, we'll do the 7, but we're doing our sisters. Type thing.
No, but I mean that's what I'm saying is there is a correlation between R'hllor, fire, dragons. I mean they had the 12 volcanoes and everything. Like they were surrounded by fire, and magic was involved with everything that they did because of it. So I mean, if it turns out that like R'hllor is actually a Targaryen, like god or deity or anything like that, that could make sense. The reason why she's different.
Yeah, it could be. We don't know for a fact that
I mean, R'hllor.
whatever's bringing them
R'hllor
back is actually R'hllor, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could be just some guy at the freaking Citadel with a glass candle
Yeah.
talking to
Well,
people into the fire.
right. Well, let's take a look at the other fire whites and see if there's any kind of connection. So we'll look at Beric Dondarrion. Like I said just a moment ago, he was charged by Ned Stark as Hand of the King, and as he sat the Iron Throne to weed out the Mountain and his men from killing, raping, and just rampaging the Riverlands on Tywin Lannister's command. Thoros gets killed, or Thoros. Beric gets killed.
Gets stabbed in the eye by Lannisters.
Right. He got stabbed in the eye by one of the Lannisters and died. And Thoros says, I have never brought a man back from death before, but when I said the words, he gasped and his heart began beating again. And this is a man, Thoros, who was a drunk, used to party like a rock star with Robert. He was a big dude who went into battle with.
So hearts do beat then.
That's what I'm saying. You just jumped to that, but thank you. Seriously, I was going to say that. So Thoros is this big dude, and he loves to party, but when he sees his friend get killed, he's a monk, but he doesn't really believe anymore. But he starts saying prayers and words that he was taught that he didn't know if they would work, but all he wanted was to bring his friend back. And I think that is key. He wanted desperately to bring his friend back. So he gives the breath of life into Beric. He starts to lose weight, doesn't party, gets more, kind of monkish. But Beric does get the breath. He gasps air in, so he's breathing, and his heart beats again. Now, George said fire whites, their hearts don't beat, their blood doesn't pump. But yet Beric, on the first return at least, had a beating heart. So what's to say Beric wasn't just like Dany when after his first death, when she comes out of the fire after her first death? We see him in 8th and then 9th death, but maybe he was just like her after the first, heart beating, eating, going to the bathroom, sleeping. I'm glad you said it because you noticed it too, but that's a huge point in this quote. His heart beat again. All right, so
if so, say for instance, we're assuming that Dany's on her first new life.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, maybe that's the part of the things that you lose. Maybe you come back and you're essentially the same sort of person that you were before, depending on how quickly you were resurrected, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's part of the things that you lose when you get resurrected again. You lose your heartbeat.
Well, it could be. Maybe after the third time, little things start to go. Not little things, but things that kept you more human. Because every time you're resurrected, R'hllor needs to use more power, so you need to sacrifice. Only life can pay for death, or death can pay for life. So part of you dies to bring the rest of you back. I don't know. Liam's in the house. Good to see you, man.
My question is, is that why it took so much to bring back Lady Stoneheart? That's why he essentially gave up his life?
I don't know about that. So I was wondering that too. And we see Thoros able to bring back his friend by saying the prayers and breathing in and giving him life. But we'll go over just in a second what happens next. So
okay.
Also with Beric, though, he tells us every time I come back, I'm a bit less of my memories, my strength, my warmth. Pieces of me are lost in the flames, replaced with something that is not truly living. So that kind of answers that right there. So he came back the first time, heartbeat, breathing, but every time he comes back, something not living replaces it.
I guess my theory about heat being a key factor actually does make a point, because they literally said losing heat. I wonder what happens if he gets resurrected too many times. Does he become
Like a Wight.
essentially an ice Wight or a
Yeah.
Wight? Like, yeah.
And because now let's say he only died once, when he brings back Catelyn, even though it's been 3 days or whatever, does he live? Or because he keeps giving pieces of himself to replace, death for life, did he just not have it because his warmth was gone? Does he not have enough flame in him to, it's his life or hers type thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
still don't think it was a fair trade.
No, not at all. But maybe in the long run, we might see her kill some great people. So we're going with Lady Stoneheart, and she's the darker example, I would say. Beric Dondarrion, it's kind of the template of how you bring somebody back. Stoneheart's the darker example. So she was revived by Beric, giving her his life fire, a conscious act where he willingly sacrificed the last spark animating him to breathe unnatural vitality back into her corpse. In A Storm of Swords epilogue, this is described as Beric laying hands upon her and passing into her the fire gifted to him by R'hllor, effectively ending his own existence so she could rise again, transformed and driven by vengeance. So he did not say any words. He didn't breathe anything. He laid hands on her and, passed the gift. And I have the quote. I don't know what I just did with it. Speak, please.
Well, okay, two things. I'm also, even though I've read it and I know that he gave up his life, the two things that I was like, maybe Catelyn just stole the essence from him. She does suck the life out of everyone whenever she's around.
Well, maybe because
So
she was
that would be true.
Vengeful.
And why couldn't he be resurrected after that? Why was there
right? Why couldn't Thoros try his prayers again on her?
He literally just saw his best friend die again. Give it up for
And it was Beric, Thoros saying no, he wasn't going to try because she's been dead too long, and that's when Beric tries it. So Thoros narrates, he gave her the kiss of life, and the flame of the Lord of Light passed from him to her when he lifted his lips from hers. So now it's also said that he laid hands on her. So maybe I screwed that up, but she drew breath and he was gone. This moment describes Beric laying hands upon her and transferring her the fire gift to him by R'hllor, but effectively he does breathe into her.
He gave her a kiss.
And maybe she pulled more through the hands. Like he gave her the kiss and she took this whole thing.
Yeah.
And then with Brienne in Feast for Crows, Brienne 8, Lady Stoneheart ordered this summary hanging of 3 Freys, Ryman, Simon, and another, without trial, declaring their guilt as self-evident for the Red Wedding. And with the text says, hang them, she said, and they were noosed. Well, she probably, they were noosed and hoisted while she watched. I like how they put this. She watched unmoved. This merciless act, devoid of due process, shows the chilling transformation from the once compassionate, I don't know about that, Catelyn Stark into an instrument of vengeance and animated by unnatural fire. Now, my question is this. First, considered unnatural because she stole it, I think. Second, I think the vengeance and that anger was always in her. But the Red Wedding and that moment broke her before she died, and that's what we get back. So she had a complete breakdown when she killed the handicapped girl, the retarded one. And when the kiss of life was given to her, they brought back the broken Catelyn Stark, not the one 30 minutes ago. You know what I mean?
When she like that, literally her last act was assuming that the show has it essentially right, scream of anguish about what happened, killing the girl, and then Black Waldo slitting her throat.
Right. Right.
So her last thought is of pain, anger, and like her own death.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
So
dude,
if
it's just that's what she
she's
brought back.
forgotten everything else but that, all she knows is that I just did a revenge.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm focused on now.
And she didn't. There was no pleasure. She was unmoved. It
That's
was
what I'm
just,
saying.
this
She
is
was
what
unmoved.
needs to do.
She-
Yeah, this what has to happen.
Yeah, and also same thing with like Black Wild and everything. When he slit her throat, it
Mhm.
was just matter of a fact. It was just yep. It wasn't like
Yeah, she
you know,
just
he's the
did it.
message or anything. He just walked
Right.
up, bam. You
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. Yeah, dude, it's pretty it is pretty crazy. We get also her fury is also seen in Feast for Crows Brienne 8 when she condemns Brienne herself to the noose for refusing to swear to kill Jaime Lannister, demonstrating that betrayal in her eyes is unforgivable. In A Feast for Crows Brienne 7, she has outlaws stringing up Merritt Frey after forcing him to confess to the Red Wedding. These scenes underscore that her new existence is consumed by retribution, uh, meeting out, meeting out death to any she deems complicit or disloyal. And it all has to connect with the Red Wedding.
All she's after is Lannisters and Freys. Like
yeah,
whether
that's what at least we've seen.
What was he supposed to confess? He didn't organize it. He had nothing to do with it.
Right. You know, and she
Do you
has.
think that's the reason why there's going to be a split between the Brothers with No Banners. Like they're going to see her as they're like, oh, we were actually supposed to help people, not just do a vengeance murder.
We do get Thoros talking about it, right?
That's what I mean. I think that's he's the one that's just like, this isn't what we do.
Right. Yeah, hold on. I'll get that quote real quick.
$1.49 from Brian McCann.
Woo! Thank you for the popcorn, brother. But first, before that, in addition to her campaign of vengeance, Lady Stoneheart's symbolism deepens when she takes possession of Robb Stark's crown. Though not directly shown in the main narrative, reports from outlaws and small folk suggest the Brotherhood recovered it after the Red Wedding. This act, whether worn upon her brow or kept as a grim relic, becomes a silent statement. The fallen king's justice lives on through her, twisted by death and fire magic. And then you have where Thoros speaks, gave her the kiss, blah, 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 lips. Thoros adds on her new role saying, she is the one now. Our lady commands and we follow. This underscores the transfer not only of Beric's animated fire, but also of leadership of the Brotherhood without banners, making her both the vessel of R'hllor's flame and the spearhead of its vengeance. And she actually is now, in a twisted way, because she is going after Lannisters. So it is the same, she still will kill people that were, part of that group Ned told Beric to go after. So in a way, she's also keeping Ned's proclamation or decree going by
and now she finally listens to Ned.
Yeah. Holy cow, Brian McCann, dude, what are you doing, brother? Brian McCann gifted 5 Sporky News podcast memberships. And we have the lovely, the gorgeous Small Time Republic. Dale Sigmund, welcome, Dale. Adam Wolford, good to see you. Crimson Law, what's up, dude? Inverse Opinion, also. Thank you, guys. You're all now part of the membership where hopefully I'll do something for you all. Just being honest. Yeah, so let's compare Dany to Firewhites then. Like what do you guys think when you compare her to what I just talked about?
Based on how it was described with Beric the first time, it does seem more plausible that it could be legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I don't know how did she come back the first time then? Who was it that brought her back?
Well, I think it might have been an accident, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Well, I'll just talk about it now. When when the fire starts, Mary Mazdul is chanting. Now, she might be chanting at first to her own god, but maybe then she's chanting to any god that would listen. Or in that moment, R'hllor saw, even without Mary Mazdul, the determination of Dany believing in the fire, and R'hllor is fire. So her basically saying, I will survive this, he maybe was like, damn right you will. Or even if she, I don't know, because she goes in so confident she isn't going to die. And that's what she says. What I read before, what she says to Jorah Mormont, like the flames to Jorah, no, you must not fear. The fire is mine. I am Daenerys Stormborn, daughter of dragons, bride of dragons, and mother of dragons. So in her mind, which we've all said before, dragons are fire made. They're like an elemental. They are fire made alive. She is the wife, the mother, and the daughter of fire. So maybe R'hllor was like, okay, I see where you're going with this.
There's no connection between Jorah and R'hllor, is there? He's never shown any sort of religion.
No.
I'm just thinking maybe one of the people that were there did it.
I don't doubt that. I mean, she has a straggle group. So there were, the weaker and older and younger of the Khalasar, but also I think some of the people they captured, some of like the camp followers. So maybe someone threw out a prayer for her. What do you think?
Let's think, if you've got multiple people throwing out multiple prayers, someone's bound to pick up sooner or later.
Right. And we kind of learned that with the Faceless Men. But go ahead, Tina.
Exactly. I wonder if the idea of Dany being a Firewhite means that she has some inherent benefit to R'hllor. So what would that be? Just because she can be the mother of dragons, and dragons, you equate dragons with fire, and you equate then fire with R'hllor. Or what is R'hllor hoping that when she conquers everyone and then eventually maybe she'll turn to his religion?
Well, let's not forget, he doesn't even need her to, because the Red Priests are already declaring her like his R'hllor's champion.
That's right. That's right.
So he realizes that she has, like, her name and her status and her bloodline gives her the ability to bring R'hllor to a whole new continent. Almost like she's the Andal invasion. She is the invasion of R'hllor. She is going to convert people without even trying because she's so powerful. So maybe that's why, hey, I'm going to keep this girl alive.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. 11 Alpha says, whether book or show canon, Catelyn's final conscious living act was to murder an innocent. Yes. And Lady Stoneheart remains a judgmental, murderous biatch. Yeah, she does. I mean, Brienne did nothing to her. Brienne swore to protect her daughters. She didn't swear, I'll protect your daughters and kill Lannisters. So, like, for her to say she's betraying her, she isn't. She's still looking for her daughters.
When she's bringing Jaime to her. Do you think that Brienne will intervene?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute. Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Do you think that once, because she's Brienne's bringing Jamie to Lady Stoneheart.
Yeah.
Do we think that she's gonna? I think Brienne's gonna kill her. I don't know why. I just had this thing that
she may try. Yeah.
that'll be like Lady Stoneheart will be in like one chapter and then she'll be done.
Yeah.
Or maybe it won't. Maybe it'll be Thoros that does it.
Yeah. Or she might be getting Jamie and not even kill him. Because he has maybe some information. He has one part of ice. Or no, he gave that to her. But he knows where the rest of ice is. Like, she might make it seem like she's going to kill him, but she might be just testing. We don't know what's going on in that mind. Does she have?
Well, because we're
No,
not gonna. There's no POV for her.
Right. Is she strategic or is she just vengeful? We don't know.
It'd be so funny if he actually did a POV for it and it was just murder, kill, revenge, revenge, and that was it for like 5 pages.
That's it. Kill, Lannister. Kill, Frey. Yeah, that would be hilarious, man. Brian wants to know how much time has passed from book 1 to the present book. 2 years, 2.5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he didn't do the 5-year jump.
Right.
Like he was planning.
Right. And to certain books, there's no time difference. They actually go back. So
they go back, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Third and fourth book happened at the same time, but in almost reverse order.
And then fourth and fifth.
Location based, yeah.
So maybe 2.5 years, I would say.
And AI would agree with you. Approximately 2 to 3 years.
Very nice. Yeah. Kirsty Angel had a good one. Varys and Cat shouldn't be meeting each other. Being introduced for the first time at King's Landing. There's more to those to know each other. But she said this up here. I'm sorry. When and how did Cat and Varys meet each other after she moved to Winterfell? I think she seeked him out to find the truth of Ashara and Brandon's. Brandon is Jon's father, reason why she hates Jon so much. Yeah, maybe. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to stay on point. Comparing Dany to Firewights. All right, so the similarities are here. All underwent a miraculous, seemingly impossible event linked to fire and death, suggesting divine or magical intervention. In Dany's case, the funeral pyre mirrors the fiery resurrection seen with Beric and Lady Stoneheart, a death or near death followed by a return with a prophetic purpose and a connection to powers resembling R'hllor's. Like other Firewights, her survival challenges the natural order and fulfills omens and prophecies. If you think about it, Dany definitely had, before she went into the fire, she was the mother of dragons, the mother, the savior. I'm going to save this small Khalasar. And when she comes out, she is the mother of dragons and she is the mother. In her mind, she's there to save everybody. And I think that's the twist that'll make her go from being this heroic or, person that we're kind of rooting for to the villain, because as she gains more power, her drive to be the mother of all might actually get even worse and more violent, because people will not just accept her like they have been in Essos. Anybody who doesn't accept her, I think when she flies back on her dragon after getting the Khalasar, she'll kill everyone that's not Team Dany. No question.
But Essos is practice and game time is Westeros.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you think that any of the Firewights could be the Nissa equivalent? Because they've got the fire magic in them.
Right. And if Jon has to kill her,
he
puts it through her heart. Or maybe Nissa was a Firewight. What?
Or if he stabs Catelyn.
You've brought that up a couple times. And I think that's a really interesting one because I
want to see her get stabbed too.
I was just going to say that.
By Jon. It's even better. And 3, it talks about a strong connection between the two. It doesn't necessarily say
love or hate.
Yeah.
And 4 or Z, it would be a interesting moment if he does that, pulls out the burning sword, and now he has the black crown, iron crown of the King of the North. You know,
Yeah.
she may crown him and then have him kill her. I don't know. There's going to be something there because one, Catelyn Stark was one of only 3 people that are still alive. Well, of the living that knows what's in Rob's will. So, well, maybe more because they're in the net.
Blackfish.
No, I don't know if the Blackfish
Yeah,
knew about it.
Blackfish was.
He was there, but I don't know if he knows about
I thought he
the
was
will.
a witness.
No, the witness are one of the Glovers and Mage Mormont. I think it's Mage. They took the will.
And they've taken off. So yeah, they're
Yeah,
unknown.
they've taken it to the neck for Howland
Yeah.
Reed to see. So, and Cat was that chapter I love where they never tell you who he shows her. And oh no, he does. He says John because his other brothers are dead, and she is 1,000,000% against that. And then he shows her something at the end, and I don't remember the exact wording, but she's like, "Oh, he got me with that one." Like he tricked her by saying John first, and then showing the will with a different name. If we could bring up that end of that chapter, I think that's in when does Rob die? Feast for Crows or before? No, it's
Clash of Kings.
it's the third book. The third book, Clash of Kings. So it's in there somewhere. I'll find it after this.
Oh
yeah,
no, he's in Feast for Crows.
it is okay. I thought
Yeah.
the Red Wedding happened at the end of. Oh, I guess it is Feast of Crows.
Yeah.
Kyle Dreyer and Danny takes place
Because
before
of
that.
a bunch of crows is a murder.
Oh shit!
Mhm.
All right, differences. Unlike Beric or Stoneheart, Dany retains full life functions. Now, I want to put a little asterisk by that. I think Beric, when he first came back, also had a heartbeat, blood flowing, and she can conceive life. And she shows no sign of physical decay or loss of memory. And the only reason I put conceive life is because Lady Stoneheart definitely ain't she's post menopause. But Dany, we see blood flow. We believe it's her moon cycle coming back, but
Well,
I don't
we
know.
didn't see her be injured or attacked.
Right.
That was
It
the
was
thing.
just there was blood,
Yeah.
and it's most likely. I'm 99% sure it's her moon cycle. I like saying that. And she should okay. So most uniquely though, her rebirth coincided with a hatching of 3 dragons, creatures tied to fire magic, which may act as a source or an anchor for her vitality in ways no other Firewhite exhibits. So because they are fire made real,
It's her
living,
Horcruxes.
they're her Horcruxes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and I wonder when she loses one, will we see that take away some of her humanity and some of her, life force?
Yeah.
And that's
See,
why
that would
she
make
starts
sense.
going
If
boo boo.
Now
if
that
she gets to the end with Drogon, that
Mhm.
would actually start to do it. Like
Yeah.
she loses one of them because she forgot the Iron Fleet wasn't a thing.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, immediately her moods have changed, and she's unaware of the change. She always
Mhm.
thought she was that way.
Right.
That could work towards that,
Right.
where it's literally, her Horcrux. Like,
Right. Yeah, isn't that kind of cool? I think it's cool.
I
Go ahead, please.
I wonder if, as her, if we assume the TV series at least has some of the beats of what the next 2 books are going to be, that we see Daenerys degrade a little bit as her children are dying, and maybe that's her humanity is dying with them.
Yes.
So
Real,
that I think would have been a better excuse for her to go crazy other than some
yeah,
bells ringing.
right. So the dragons could be the linchpin of her vitality and still that humanity. and that's why
It
she's
would also
different
be
from Beric
interesting if there
and
was
Lady
a
Stoneheart.
big physical change.
Yeah. Real
You know,
quick,
like when
Red
you
Team
play.
Review in the house. I'm sorry. He says, assume Neurotic is also here. We were tagged after all. So Gary's in our DM and he has come on the show. So I always tag him because he has the link. I tagged you because you came a couple weeks ago and I thought that was really cool. So, and I dig your stuff. So I tagged you. Hope that didn't bother you, man. But we
Well, I
are
mean,
talking
here's the
about
thing.
Danny being a fire white.
Gary could turn up at any stage. We don't know. So
Any stage. Thanks, brother. But yeah, I wonder what Red Team might think, or anybody in the chat. Does that make sense? If Danny is a fire white, the reason why, and again, Beric Dondarrion, he was more human after first revival than the 8th or 9th. He had breath. He took breath. We know that. His heart was beating. Danny's is too. Lady Stoneheart, no. Even though George has told us fire whites' hearts don't beat and blood doesn't pump, we have book evidence that that's not true. Beric did. And if again, dragons are fire made living, they are the elemental fire, then that is her whole crux. Now I also went on to say
what would Derek Beric expect? Would it be his sword?
no, I don't even think it was more Thoros doing it for him, but him coming back was because of his pledge to Ned, but it was also his friend's wish that he didn't die and his connection to R'hllor. Now, I don't know when it started, but at some point his blood was able to ignite. That's not natural. But
Yeah.
we haven't seen Danny cut yet. I wonder if something might happen with that. So, what I also wrote with the hatching, it's the first one seen in centuries. They're steeped in fire magic and often portrayed in Essos lore as living vessels of heat and life. This timing suggests more than coincidence. The dragons may function, like I said, as a kind of tether, their own fiery life force bound to her own, continually sustaining her in ways that no other known fire white experience. In mythic terms, it's as if her soul and theirs were fused in that instant, each feeding the other's vitality, making her rebirth not just a resurrection, but a symbiosis between woman and dragon, mother of dragons, daughter of dragons, wife of dragons. So she has
3 dragons.
right.
Also another
She covers it all.
3. Yeah, another 3 symmetry.
And with
as well.
her, 3 is big. The symmetry of 3 is big. Betrayed by gold, betrayed by love, all that stuff. It always comes in 3s with her prophecies. So
with
it is interesting.
Let's assume that would be the case. Would that mean that because they have a psychic bond with she has a psychic bond with her dragons, does that mean that her dragons would also be more mood swingy, more unreliable, more willing to, say for instance, I don't know,
more fiery,
burn a city down without her being in control?
Right. And again, let's say she loses a dragon before that, her tether may be weakened and you'll see more of that fire white, loss of emotions, loss of humanity coming out of her even more. I believe she's going to get more violent, but there has to be something that is the reason behind that. And I think it's the tethering to the 3 dragons. If one dies, well, then now you have a reason why she's losing it a bit. Brian says, no, Danny is not a fire white after the fire that birthed her dragon's eggs. She survived due to her Targaryen heritage, blood magic, and singular magical event. But yeah, Targaryens, they can deal with hotter water than other people. Targaryens burn. We see that in Duncan Egg.
Yeah, I mean, she even burns.
Yeah, she burns when she leaves the fighting pits. Yeah. Drogon's so hot that it burns her hands.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, say for instance, if it was Rhaegal that dies, Rhaegal, that's her. That's her little baby. That's the one that like Drogon's, he's the big tough one.
Yep.
Viserion and Rhaegal, they're the ones. They're the team.
Yeah.
You know, they're the ones
Yeah,
that,
they're the
that do
little
things.
guys.
They're the little guys, but the littlest one's the one that's the more affectionate, the one that's always willing to stand in front of everyone when, like, in front of Dany first, is Rhaegal. So Rhaegal, how does it pronounce? I always see it written as Rhaegal or Rhaegal.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that's how it's pronounced. I mean,
yeah.
it's close.
But what I'm saying is, if each of them are a part of what ties her to this realm and everything, maybe the personality and everything goes. Rhaegal is the caring, more playful, the loving one. So
Mhm.
if that goes, maybe that part is removed from her.
Right. I see what
So
you're
then
saying.
what you have is you have the hunter,
Parts of her
the one that's
personality are in the 3 different
yeah,
dragons.
yeah. You've got
Okay.
Drogon, which is the more the warrior one.
Mhm.
But then you've got the hunter, the teacher, because Viserion was the one that was showing Rhaegal how to hunt, how to
Yeah.
burn things and
Burn the
everything.
food and eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not also willing to challenge leadership, because always tried to have a go at Drogon not all the times, but you know, always
Yeah.
end up being subservient, but
Right.
wasn't afraid to take that challenge on.
Take that challenge. Yeah. Mason, what's up, man? You on a break?
No, I usually have Tuesdays off.
Oh, okay. Good. Well, I'm
Yeah.
glad you're here, buddy. Everybody, welcome Mason to the channel. Yay, Mason. Mason needs 20 more subs to get to frigging 100 people. We've been doing this for so long. I'm embarrassed of my own channel. I know I only have a couple thousand, but please, if you can, subscribe to Mason. I'll get his link and put it in the chat. Mason, tell him what you cover on your channel, which I think you do a good job, even though I don't know if I've seen a new video from you in a little while.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, but I was thinking of watching the new Alien show.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's premiering today, right? And then,
I don't even know. I didn't even know there was an alien show. I'm so out of the loop.
I was thinking about watching that and maybe going live tonight if I can get it to work.
Oh shit.
If not,
Yeah.
I might just make a video on it or something.
No, dude, do your thing, man. The best thing is to go live and then chop that up and make a video because you're a busy dude. Tina, were you going to say something?
No, sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, Sonny Frank. What did Merowyn teach Mary Mazdul, the R'hllor's magic? I mean, there was definitely shadow binding going on and other things in Ashai when they met up with what's his name? Guy who kicked out of being a maester. I always forget his name. Hangs out with
Qyburn.
Qyburn. Thank you. I always forget his damn name. You know, the 3 of them know each other. So freaky deaky stuff going on. But we got only a couple more points to talk about, and then we'll wrap this up and we'll just talk about whatever in the chat's going on. But there's Mason's channel, guys. Please, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to him. Show him that there's love in this community. So the counter argument. George has clarified in interviews that Targaryens are not, in fact, fireproof, citing that Dany's walk into Drogo's pyre was a singular magical convergence of blood, sacrifice, prophecy, and sorcery, not a natural trait of her lineage. Okay, so it was some type of sorcery, part of prophecy, and definitely something to do with blood sacrifice, all converging. But he also said Fire White's hearts don't beat and their blood doesn't pump, and we know that that's not true too. He likened the miracle it to a miracle rather than an inherited immunity, a unique event where Mary's death, the dragon's eggs, and the ritual fire combined to produce an unprecedented resurrection-like transformation. So he only says Mary's death. I think, okay, so her baby, unborn baby, or stillborn baby, that paid for Drogo. She killed him. So that's death. That paid for 1 egg. Mary paid for another egg. Dany's life paid for the 3rd, and that tethered her to the dragons because R'hllor wanted to keep this champion. I think. I think I'm pretty freaking amazing to think that. Anywho, um, it's agreed on, right? That's pretty interesting. If it is, it could be an answer, right?
That
But,
makes
Absolutely.
sense.
yeah.
I mean, it makes more sense than what we got in the TV series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I have one part like with the counter, no sign of physical degradation. Her skin, vitality, and physical capabilities remain entirely intact a couple years after the pyre. Unlike Beric, but he was resurrected multiple times, or Lady Stoneheart, who is dead for 3 days, whose bodies clearly showed the toll of death. Dany bleeds. We only saw that at the very end of her last chapter in A Dance of Dragons. Breathes and can conceive children, maybe. Because we know her womb did dry up, but maybe she can now, suggesting that if she is a Firewight, she represents an unprecedented form, one in which the reanimation not only halted decay, but restored full biological functions. This may point to the extraordinary magical forces at work during her resurrection, possibly tied to the three dragons.
Yeah. Also, your theory works better because it won't work for the TV series because she'd already killed Drogon by then.
Right, she smothered him with a pillow or something.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, but in the show or in the book, I thought he wasn't dead when she put him on.
No, he was. I can't remember how they worded it, but he was essentially knocking on death's door. He wasn't alive, but he wasn't dead. He wasn't. Yeah.
Wow, that's messed up though.
The whole like if she's a Firewight thing, I was thinking about it. Do we have any mention of Beric Dondarrion, like his hair growing at all? Because she's bald when she comes out of the fire, right?
Right.
And then you have Lady Stoneheart, and her hair is just completely white.
Well, actually, doesn't he grow a beard? And maybe that's just the show, but I thought they say something about that in the book too. He looks scraggly and grows a beard. The thing is, though, before you came in, we were talking about the different examples, and when you get to Beric, Thoros says, on the first time he brought him back, I had never brought a man back from death before, but when I said the words, he gasped and his heart beat again. So we know that when we see Beric, that's like the 8th death. I think we see him killed for the 9th time, maybe. But when he first came back, he was closer to Dany than not. He might have lost just a little. The reason Dany doesn't is because she has the dragons and she's tethered to them. But he gasped, so he's breathing and his heart beat. Beric or Thoros felt it when he, laid upon him and said those prayers. So there is proof that a Firewight does keep kind of living on.
Yeah, because the only evidence that we had that they don't is what George said himself, not what he had written.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I've always looked at it is if it's written down and it's published, that is canonically the correct thing. Then it comes to what the author and anything says about said work, and then it's any of the external materials.
Right.
So if he says that,
even if in an interview,
in an interview that no, they don't have anything, yet it was in, say, for instance, a comic or a TV show where it mentions about the heartbeat, then I'd be like, no, George has the hierarchy on that one, but because he'd written it down and it's in that surpasses what he says in an interview.
Yeah. Okay, real quick, to Sonny Frank, yes, you are correct. Dany sacrifices Drogo's horse as part of the ritual, the pyre ritual. So, okay, now you have 3 things. You have a horse, you have Drogo, and you have Mirri Maz Duur paying for the dragon's life. And then there has to be a 4th. The baby's life paid for Drogo, so it can't pay for hers. So maybe the dragons, because she was willing to walk in the fire and birth them with those 3 sacrifices, R'hllor decided to tether them to her, creating
So
a
that means
unique fire wight.
if she dies, they die, or if all 3 of those die, she dies.
Most likely, I would think. So one more counterpoint, they say, right? Unlike Beric, but we proved that wrong. And suggesting that if she is a fire wight, she represents unprecedented form, one in which the reanimation. I already read that, didn't I? This may point to the extraordinary magic. I read that too. Sorry about that. Symbolism and duality. So, ice wight, a wight, undead, raised and controlled by the others through cold. Shadow, which I find interesting. It does say shadow, but shadow's part of R'hllor too, so that's kind of weird. And necromancy tied to the great other. Their bodies animated by the freezing magic of the far north. Fire wights, on the other hand, corpses or near corpses reanimated by the power of R'hllor, the Lord of Light, through fire and life force, often via a priest or a champion such as Thoros of Myr or Beric Dondarrion. Where ice wights serve the will of the others mindlessly, fire wights often retain memories, personality, and some agency, though their existence is still unnatural and shaped by the god's flame and, I think, the agency they had before they died. And just R'hllor's what is R'hllor's full name? I had it right here.
I've always just called him Steve.
No,
He's an informal guy.
Yeah, he's a really good guy, really friendly at the water cooler. His full name and title. All right, we'll get that in a sec. Oops, I hit a button. That messed that up. So R'hllor, also known as the Lord of Light, the Heart of Fire, the God of Flame and Shadow, God of Fire, Life, and Prophecy. So he has a lot of titles, close to the Great Other in a way. Another
Nissa might have been a fire. She might have been a fire wight because the only time we've ever seen a sword catch a light is Beric when he uses his own blood.
Right,
And
from blood.
Maybe that from blood,
Yeah.
and maybe that was maybe Nissa had already died and was brought back, and that's why she was willing to sacrifice herself
Right.
for that scenario because she'd already lived, and she was upset with it. She
Also,
understood what she had to do.
but also, if she was a fire wight, she would sacrifice herself to destroy the other, the Great Other.
Yeah.
So that definitely could be something. There's a possible mirroring of Jon and Dany if we get the Winds of Winter, both potentially fire resurrected, we think, because Melisandre and the Queen's men are up there with the Queen. Their rebirths framed by transformative moment involving death and flame. Jon's case at the wall parallels Dany's pyre, each followed by altered purpose, prophetic weight, and a deeper connection to forces tied to R'hllor. This raises the possibility that they are narrative foils, two champions reborn through opposing yet related aspects of fire magic. They're destined to confront the Iceborne threat together, but will they, because they're different aspects of fire magic, if Jon comes back, it's because of the prayers from Melisandre. Dany might have been crowned champion by R'hllor himself. Will that cause them friction if they defeat the Great Other together? We don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We're going to get back to you in a few, Kirsty, because you always have good stuff. I don't know. I even oh man. I love when I'm using different AIs to help me create what I want. Like I'm forming it, but sometimes they they put a word in there and I'm like, oh man, I definitely didn't write that. Like what is phylactery? Phylactery.
Philistrophy?
Philistry? Hey, I don't know. I'm lost. I want to know what this word actually means because it
Okay, how do
definitely
you
sounds
spell
cool.
it again?
Okay,
PH.
it's a vessel or object used to contain or protect a being's soul, binding their life force to it so that their destruction is impossible while it remains intact. So it's like a whole crux, but it's PHYLACTERY. I've never heard that word before because I put something about the tethering, and this is the word it spit out to me, trying to make me sound all smart.
Apparently, it's it's Jewish origin. It's a small
Oh,
leather box containing Hebrew text on vellum, worn by Jewish men at morning prayer as a reminder to keep the law.
huh. All right. I was just wondering what it was because I saw it.
It's Horcrux.
And apparently, it's
It's
also
a whole,
being used. It's also used in Dungeons and Dragons
yeah.
as a container for relics.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, 11 Alpha. And Bad Takes Bojan is right, guys. Please smash the like button. It actually does help. And share this out. And when we're done, please come back to the video when it's a video and comment. I don't care what you say, just comment. Be kind of nice. Not to me, but in general. So her dragons are this Horcrux, a concept borrowed from fantasy necromancy. Here it suggests that the dragons may serve as that vessel or anchor for Dany's own life force. In this view, when she walked into Drogo's pyre and died or came close to it, her spirit may have been bound to the hatchlings as they emerged. And like you kind of said, each dragon carrying a portion of her vitality. Now, I thought about that, but what you said back, Grant, I wasn't even thinking about. She represents different aspects of their personalities. I don't think it's her personality in them. I actually think it's the dragon's personality affecting her. Like Drogon being the the closest thing to the Black Dread that we've seen,
Yeah.
The calmer, nicer, sweeter one, and then the middle child type thing.
Well, the middle child is the one that's the one that takes care of the other one. That's the teacher. That's where she gets the motherliness from.
Yep. Yep.
So
Right. So if that one dies, so long as they live, she cannot truly die, making her survival tied to them, tethered to them, and their death potentially heralding her own end. I think we might have nailed something there, man. I don't know. What do you guys think of the chat? Agree or disagree? And I'm going to put a poll up. Is Dany alive, a fire white, or something else?
Yeah, is Dany Voldemort and are the dragons Nagini?
Yeah. Good point, dude. Good way of putting it.
they are reptiles.
That is true. I think we're onto something. I know I didn't look at other people if there's, theories out there about this. I didn't want that to kind of warp what we were talking about like the last couple of years about her being a fire white ever since Stig brought it up. 4 years ago. So this is kind of based on what we've talked about with a little more that I thought about myself because it is my show, so I should throw something extra in there. So I don't know if there is theories that even like contradict or kind of help out our argument. I don't know. Have you guys seen any?
Not of Danny being a fire white, and not of not anything of this detail when it comes to that. So yeah, I think we might be onto something.
Yeah, I hope we are. Wow, only 8 likes, people. Only 8.
I can't wait to hear it again next week on Preston's show.
Oh, stop it. He has some great live streams, dude. He has some great live streams. He goes deep into certain characters that I didn't think about. So the pyre as a deliberate resurrection rite, more than a mere funerary act. This can be viewed through the lens of R'hllor's fire magic as a structured, intentional working, a convergence of blood sacrifice, Mary Mazdul's death, maybe the horse definitely, and maybe Drogo. Symbolic offerings, the dragon eggs, stone, but holding fire come to life, and self immolation by the would-be reborn. Such rites in myth or magic often function as death and rebirth ceremonies, where the initiate passes through literal or symbolic death to emerge transformed, sometimes with new powers or divine purpose. In this book or series, Dany's pyre could be understood as a consciously or unconsciously enact resurrection ritual, akin to the fire white revivals performed by Thoros of Myr. Except hers bound not just her spirit, but the lives of her dragons into one intertwined act of creation and reanimation. Boom. I like it.
Speaking or adding fuel to Martin's idea that Dany nor the Targaryens are immune to fire is apparently in A Dance of Dragons. Dany does mention receiving minor burns from Drogon's flames.
Yes, right. She gets minor burns when they fly out of the pits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. See, we know these things. Sometimes we forget easy to remember names, but we remember moments, so that's saying something. I did write a little blurb about the parallels to Azor Ahai because we've talked about that. Ornamentus, Salt and Smoke, The Clash of Kings, Dany 4. In R'hllor's prophecy, so it is what I didn't realize till I looked it up. It is part of R'hllor's prophecy, Azor Ahai. Azor Ahai's forging of Lightbringer through the sacrifice of Nysa often carries undertones of death and transformation through fire. Some theories, which we put in, speculate that Nysa herself could be viewed as the earliest mythical example of a fire white. Her life willingly or unwillingly surrendered, her essence perhaps bound into the blade. If Daenerys mirrors Azor Ahai, her pyre could echo that same archetype, a death and rebirth through fire that fuses a mortal with divine flame, binding her to a greater purpose. So she may actually be the embodiment of Azor Ahai and Nysa in a way. Like the funeral pyre, she comes out as Azor Ahai, and if Jon then has to kill her, she becomes Nysa. Shani Andres, random Preston snark was not necessary. No, we love him. I love him. I think we just joke about it. Because Red Team was here earlier.
It's not a dig. It's just the amount of times that we've had ideas. We're like, oh, we should do a thing about it. And then the next week when we go to do it, we're like, did you see Preston's video? And we're like, yeah, we saw it. Yeah.
It happened like more than just a handful of times. Yeah. It's funny. We would joke is like, is our mics bugged? Is something bugged? Because like, but you do these shows as long as we have, and as long as he's done it in a greater way. You're bound to start going on, talking about the same more offshoots or the same topic again, but in a different view. And it was funny that there were multiple times where, okay, Tuesday, we're going to do this. We talk about it on like Wednesday. And by that Tuesday, we're like, wow, Preston did a whole 3-hour stream about that. It's like, we don't want to rip off anybody, but in this, with no new material, I guess it's going to happen that people talk about the same stuff.
Also,
I'm a huge fan of Preston's.
A lot of stuff happens where someone will come up with, like they'll do a stream and they'll mention something offhanded, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, that's an idea, and it sticks in your head, and you go,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm going to do something on that. But because we're such a small community that do it, and we've all read things to ad nauseum, ooh, something new. We'll all just latch onto that just for a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
And because we're
And,
all going off the same source material, it's
and
bound for us to
right.
come across the same thing. So
And there's stuff that like other channels have brought up that like I took a piece of what they talked about and like elaborated on that. Like, wow, I never thought of that. And it was only like just a small part of their video or stream. And I turned it into an hour-long stream because it's something that I like to talk about things that are less spoken about in the fandom because again, I mean Reddit, YouTube, there is so much material out there for these 5 books because we've been waiting so long, you know? It's tough. But yeah, that wasn't a snarky one. I hope you're still here, Shani. Shani. Am I pronouncing that? Can you do it hyphenetically? Because I am a terrible, terrible reader and speaker. What is that? Oh, okay. So is Danny, oh, I put S Danny, but is Danny a fireweight 33%, alive 33%, something else 33%? Okay.
Wow.
Oh,
I,
definitive evidence.
I mean, I know it's only 12 people, but I'm pretty shocked
pretty
by that.
conclusive.
Yeah, it's on point. She's a fireweight. All right. There's just 2 more little chapters or points I have. R'hllor and the old gods. So R'hllor, who's I said before, his full ceremonial title in the faith is often rendered as R'hllor, the Lord of Light, the Heart of Fire, the God of Flame and Shadow, the one true God who rises each dawn to drive away the darkness. Is revered as the divine embodiment of fire, life, and prophecy. In R'hllorist theology, he is locked in an eternal struggle against the great other, the god of ice, death, and darkness. His worshippers, from humble converts to powerful red priests and priestesses, such as Thoros Amir and Melisandre, channel his flame for visions in the flames. They actually see visions, resurrections, and the crafting of light bringing weapons, not just light bringer, but light bringing weapons. The faith's core tenet is that all life springs from his fire and that the ultimate victory of light over darkness is foretold in prophecy. Oh, Jane, what's up? But can a human with dragon blood be a fireweight? No, I don't know how long you've been listening, Jane, but we realized, okay, so fire, I'm going to just do the abbreviated and you can always go back and watch the whole stream. The funeral pyre. So her stillborn baby's in there, but that death paid for Drogo. Drogo's in there, so that pays for one life. Mary Mazdul pays for another, and the horse may pay for a third. That's 3 eggs. Who pays for Danny's life? What we've come to understand is that the 3 dragons being born and Danny willing to walk into the flames, R'hllor pretty much, dubbed her champion and tethered her to her dragon's legs. And we're going to see in the books, if one of those dragons die, she's going to lose some vitality, and whatever characteristics that dragon had, she'll lose that in herself. Think about it, Jane. Let's go to the old gods, the ancient deities of Westeros, tied to the land itself, worshipped primarily in the north and beyond the wall. Their domain is nature in all its aspects, with powers manifesting through green seeing, the mystical ability to perceive past, present, future events through Weirwood Network or the Weir Net, the Wood Net, Weir Net, and skin changing, entering and controlling the bodies of animals, in rare cases, other humans. That's skin changing. Also, warging, which is the ability for you to enter a wolf or direwolf's body. The old gods definitely I wonder who was first. I would think the old gods were first, but what I find interesting is the old gods primarily are in the north of Westeros, and north of that, the first men weren't even that this was children of the forest religion. Yet somehow R'hllor's locked in an eternal battle, but yet R'hllor's in Essos. So how did people connect the two when they were, one small group, the children of the forest, praying to these trees that the first men didn't realize were their gods, and when they did, they started chopping them down even more. But how is that connected? Like, that's something I thought about when I was looking at through all this. Like, it's supposedly this internal battle. What do you think, Tina?
I think perhaps that the children of the forest escaped to Westeros because maybe they were a persecuted alternate religion that folks from that believed in R'hllor,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to get rid of, and that might explain why there were not so many, not such a large number of children of the forest to begin with, and then
Yeah.
obviously dropping to the practical nil that there is now in the story.
Well, there is a group of people in Essos that are like small people with like kind of cone heads, I think, and they ride zebras. That may be, when the children, maybe a portion of them fled to Westeros, they evolved into having this camouflage of Westeros and not of like the grasslands. So maybe that could be they were from Essos and they came to Westeros, but there's nothing that actually states that, even like hints at that. What do you think, Tina? I'm coming back to you.
Oh, I like that idea. I mean, honestly, they have to have both fates had to have occurred together in order for them to be supposedly locked in battle.
Mm-hmm.
So if the children of the forest gods are not worshipped at all in Essos anymore, then it does make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so, but I'm the one who said it, so what do you guys think?
Scotty agrees with Scotty, and I agree.
You agreeing with me? Okay, I like that. Okay, so and we know Dany is a possible vessel of R'hllor, so I find that to be kind of interesting too. Where was I going next with this? One moment, please. Okay, so your question. Oh, go ahead, Tina, before I do this part.
Does that mean then that there's going to be a huge battle between whoever it is that the children of the forest might identify as their champion? Let's assume that's Bran for the sake of argument.
Yeah.
Does that mean that that's going to be a big fight then? Because if these two deities are locked in battle,
yeah,
then
they're
those
going to
would
have
be
their
their
avatars
representatives.
or
Yeah.
their champions. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. And Bran definitely is being bamboozled into connecting to the trees and eating his friend,
Yep.
most likely. So the Song of Ice and
Jojo paste looks so delicious.
the world so it's ambiguous in the lore what came first, R'hllor or dragons. And George R. R. Martin has not given a definitive answer. What we can piece together comes from fragments of Essos myth, Valyrian history, and the theological beliefs of R'hllor's followers. So, from the faith of R'hllor perspective, their god is eternal, an ever-present cosmic force of fire and life locked in perpetual battle. Blah blah blah. R'hllor predates all mortal life, civilization, creatures, including dragons. Okay, but dragons, by contrast, are mortal. But they are magical creatures whose earliest recorded appearance in history are tied to Valyria, though some tales place them in Ashai and the Shadowlands far to the east before the rise of the Valyrian freehold. We know someone taught the Valyrians how to ride, and I think that was either descendants or the remnants of the great empire of the Dorne, maybe even Yi Ti. I don't know. it's possible that dragons were a manifestation or even creations of R'hllor's divine flame, serving as his living avatars in the mortal world. If we accept the theological claim of R'hllor's eternal existence, then we definitely know dragons did not come first. But from purely historical standpoint within the world, the oldest verifiable record of dragons date back thousands of years, while proof of R'hllor existence rely on faith and miracles of his servants. This leaves open the possibility that dragons arose independently and only later became linked to R'hllor and light. So canonically, faith says R'hllor came first. Historically, can only prove dragons did unless one believes the stories that dragons were born of the flame. Does that sound about right?
I think so. I mean,
I mean,
I
we've got no proof either way. That's the thing. It's all,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Back. Oh, Jane, you silly goose. Oh, man. Jane Theory gifted one Sporky News member podcast membership. Wow, I screwed that all up. And the person who got it is the lovely Becky Brownin. I always say her name wrong. Brownin. Okay,
Browland.
Becky the Browns fan. We'll just say that.
Becky the Browns fan. I like that.
Becky the Brown. I mean, it's in her name.
Yep.
That's pretty funny that she is a Browns fan, though. I like that.
I wonder how philosophical you want to get with the dragons and R'hllor thing, because you can take it to the same question of with humans. Did God create man, or did man create God?
Right.
Did we need something to explain the unexplainable? Therefore, we invented God.
Right. That's very true. I didn't think about that. Damn, girl. I mean, yes. Did, the idea of God most likely came from trying to explain natural phenomenon and why it happens.
Mhm.
But I mean, if you go theology, God's been around forever, even
Mhm.
before the universe, and he's literally used to speak to us. Come down, talk to a person, burn a bush, talk to another person, and if you want to go that route, then yes, God came first. But if not, you want to go historically, there have been many different gods created.
Mhm.
And most
I mean,
likely in the last
burning a bush
maybe,
sounds very Rolar-like, if I'm being honest.
Sure. Well, and oh my gosh, that's the whole point. This is why California is always in flames. God's really trying to talk to those darn liberals about this is the start to follow me. Get rid of Governor Newsom. Sorry.
Oh, damn.
Maybe he thinks there's so many dragons down there, but he got mixed up with there's just a lot of drag queens.
Oh, could be. That could be something. That could definitely be something, you crazy son of a gun. I lost my place where I wrote the last part of this. So we might be done because I can't find it now. That is weird. It's weird and wacky stuff. I even had a PDF and everything.
Listless brings up the fact that we're not even totally sure there aren't dragons still out there somewhere wild in the Far East or maybe in the South. You're right. We know nothing about the South other than some rumors.
Right. Very true. And yeah, they do talk about beyond a shy dragons, wild dragons. And we are told that ice dragons are part of this world canon. So we've never seen any of those. They're probably far, far north.
So like the one that he wrote in his book before Game of Thrones?
Yeah. He said it was
Okay.
canonical. So I don't know. So we can close with I don't know whether she died in the flames or not. The pyre was her transformation. And in A Song of Ice and Fire, maybe the truth isn't whether she's alive, but which side of the song she sings for. I thought of that myself. All right, smash that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives and comment, please. When we're done, come back and comment. It really will help out. But yeah, we're done with the Danny, unless we have questions in the chat or from you guys want to talk about a little more. I think that was the theory anyways. Yeah. The Bible speaks of dragons. Where? I know what are those other ones called?
Leviathan.
Leviathan. Yeah, they think of like, I don't remember dragons. I know one of the kings, George, didn't he kill a dragon?
In the Bible,
Is that you mean Arthur? King Arthur kill a dragon?
No, I think it was he's a saint now, George.
St. George, you know the guy, Dragon Slayer.
Dragon Slayer. I don't. What were you gonna say there, Mason?
in the Bible, it does mention dragons a couple times, and in Revelations it calls Satan the great dragon. He's supposed to come and like be evil and stuff.
That's
Oh,
why
right.
he's depicted with horns.
Mason coming out with his theology. I like it. Jane does say, I don't think she died, but she may be unconscious. Jane, watch this whole stream. You're going to believe she either. And the thing with R'hllor is they don't actually have to all the way die. I didn't realize that either. There is like, if they're almost dead, you could breathe the life into them. So, I mean, again, 4 on her side, 3 dragon eggs in Danny, 3 sacrifices on the other side. Only death pays for life. So one thing somehow lived without paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
Chew on that, Jane. When are you coming back? Come just visit. Come back on the show one night.
Just to say hello.
Just one night only. We'll talk about whatever. I will go deep dive any topic you want to talk about in A Song of Ice and Fire, even anything else. Conspiracy, whatever you want to do. I miss you. Vampires any day. I'm with you. I love vampires. I'm all about vampires. I think for political reasons, she will want to be alive. Maybe. Let's see. They're talking about zombies. I know I missed some of Kirsty's stuff. Here we go. Kirsty Angel, Melisandre's etymology: honey and bees. Melanin, dark skinned. Melon, lemon, small breasts. Yeah. Nectar, ties to queen, bee, hive, and hive mind. Mother, breast milk, nectar of immortals. Man, you go deep. I sometimes get lost. And queen bees mate or drones die after sex. Queen bees mate and the drones die after sex, giving her their seed and soul. Sounds like Corpse Queen and Night's King. Queen bee continues living on. The immortal. Tansy means immortal. Yeah, because it wasn't that her original name, Tansy? Lot number something when she was bought by R'hllor, one of the temples.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, come on, guys, in the chat. Throw out some stuff about this. I'm all ready for your questions. We destroyed this topic. She is a fire white. The more we talk
we
about
concluded,
it,
was it? Oh, okay.
yeah, the more we talked about it, the more I'm like, okay, it's definite. Like Stig said, I think maybe 6 months ago to a year ago, he was like, no, this is she's a fireway. I believe it. After doing the research and looking back at some of the stuff we talked about on other streams, it just seems like she may even be more than a fireway. She is the champion of her lord. He chose her. So either he made her a fireway, or in some way she's something different. Like she's tethered to the dragons. So she didn't have to die. The life paid for the dragons. And by that payment, she didn't die, but she is tethered to them. And I believe they each have a different aspect of her personality. You know, Drogon, like we said, Drogon's the fiery one, the fierce one. You know, we see that in her at times. Like outside the doors of Karth when they were half dead from crossing the red wastelands or the wastelands. She barked at them like, all right, you're going to turn us away. Well, then You need to know who I am and what I will do to you. So, yeah. But then she's also the nurturing one. I don't know. What were you going to say?
This argument also really feeds the idea that John's dead
Mhm.
because he's so not part of the story.
Yeah.
If this
Yeah,
is
at
going
the
to be
moment,
R'hllor versus whatever
the great
is
other.
going on in the north, the great other,
Yeah.
right?
You have a valid point. Like we're supposed to think John is this big linchpin character, but he's more worried. He is worried about the White Walkers and stuff, but he's more on a um kind of a civil job. But like he's worried about the people, getting them through the wall, defenses. And then he flips, a switch when he thinks his, you know, the pink letter comes. But Bran is, tree deep into the old gods. Dany is all, pretty much the fire gods champion if she knows it or not. Probably definitely doesn't know it. Yeah, what is John's purpose? A foil for
Yeah.
both?
Euron is the water god's avatar.
Hmm.
There you go.
Sounds like a meteor took out dragons. All right. So she said Psalms 74, verse 13. Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragons in the waters. I never saw that. That's interesting. Yeah. John, one of the three heads of the dragon. Is he? He's the littlest dragon. Like, and that's a good question. Who are the three? Is Dany even one of the three, or is she the mother of the dragons?
So she could be the mother of the three of them.
Yeah. It's a little deep.
Well, Drogon's like really attached to her. I don't think he would let anyone else ride him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely, at times wouldn't even let her ride him. Like if she's not acting like the fiery Dany, he like doesn't want anything to do with her. We see that in the grasslands.
I think the bond between Dany and Drogon has been started, but it hasn't been finished.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have the psychic connection, but they haven't like I don't know. They haven't. They're engaged, but they're not married. I don't know how to put that into terms.
Right. Yeah. It is. Well, like what 11 Alpha says here, I get that Gurm is a nihilist, but what would be the point of making all your main characters dead? Lost. John, Dany, Lady Stoneheart, maybe Bran. Who is this three-eyed crow you speak of? Because it's definitely not Bran or Brendan Rivers. Their child. So John plus Dany plus their child equals milk, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what. I mean, he is the type that, like, he killed Ned Stark. Wow. Okay, well, Rob must be our hero. He kills Rob. And we haven't gotten one of those moments in a while where, okay, John, our hero now.
Thank God we got John now. We'll be safe.
Yeah, no way he'll kill John off. Either John.
Ooh, and then we get that Aegon takes King's Landing, and okay, so maybe Aegon Fagon is our champion, and then Dany comes and defeats him.
You never know. I mean, I like this too. I'll change Kirsty's a little. Could the three heads refer to the same person, soul, in three different dragons?
Mm-hmm.
Jane, always Jane. To be fair, she is still a child, so their bond hasn't matured. Come on, Jane.
That's true. Also, you have 1 minute before your things is up.
Oh shoot, that's all right. I'll make my own. They do really crappy shorts. So I've come to terms with StreamYard's making crappy shorts, but we are gonna wrap it up, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please definitely hit the like button, share this to people you know that may not even be into A Song of Ice and Fire. This might be something that interests them. And please come back after the stream is over and comment on the video. Mason, any last words, sir?
No, just maybe think about giving me a subscription.
Oh, please, guys.
It's free.
I feel so bad for you, man. You've worked your butt off.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, can we get him over 100, guys? Here's his channel. You can either go to that one or this one. Mason's a good dude. Let's get him over 100 so he can actually live stream from his phone if he wants to. I think that's like the biggest thing you get at 100. All right, 11 Alpha. But thank you for being here, buddy. I'm glad you showed up. Mr. Grant Gregory?
Yes.
Anything you want to end this on?
No, I just think that for this time next week, everyone should just ask themselves the question: will George's legacy be ruined or improved if Winter Winter doesn't come out?
Yeah, maybe not even improved. Will his legacy be tarnished or will it not affect it at all? That's a good question, because the longer we get away from it and the show screwing up things, and is it smarter for him not to write the books? The ending. I say no. Write the damn books.
Yeah, did you guys see that video from what's her name? Shoot, I'm blanking on it. It's like book something. She just put out a video.
I don't know this person. Not comic book somebody, right?
No, it starts with book.
Okay. Share the video with us in the DM.
Yeah, she put out a video about this very same topic. Talk about crossovers.
Yeah, right. See that we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
We stole her idea, I guess.
But her conclusion was that like research shows that people want something with an ending, even if it's not great.
Right. You need
but she disagreed with it. She was like, I don't care. I'm fine with the journey.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'd like a destination.
Dude, I'd seriously be happy if we get the Winds of Winter, because I feel like the major things will be wrapped up to the point where we could figure it out. You know what I mean? But maybe we'll talk about that. I like that thought. When you guys come back to comment on a topic you would like us to cover next week. On top of what Grant was talking about, tough questions. Bad takes.
Hey, if you guys are into politics and all kinds of fun stuff, come hang out on Vinny Art's channel on Friday afternoons, 5 p.m. Eastern. Or if you like Dexter, we're doing a rewatch of the original series. We're about to hit the end of season 4. It's the good one with John Lithgow. So
that's a
come
great
hang
season.
out with us. Yes, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern.
Is that before or after the season with Tom Hanks' kid?
I don't remember which one. I don't remember which one was Tom Hanks' kid.
I think it's the next one. He actually does a decent job. I liked him. All right. Well, thank you everybody for being here tonight. Thank you to my panel, the chat, Red Team Review for popping in because I linked you on my X post. Sorry about that. I won't do that again, but please stop back. Bring Preston. Have him join us one time. I'd love to hear his views on some of this stuff. Other than that, guys, we are out. Again, comment back. It's a big help. Take care, everybody.
Where's the best place for content on the world of Ice and Fire?
Right over there. See where I am pointing with my dagger? I just found
Sporking News Podcast with me, Sporking. Make sure you like and subscribe.